everyone who says they have their shit together is probably lying.
How can AI be utilized effectively in social media jobs to create impactful and engaging first impressions for businesses and brands?
This is great that you are thinking about AI, how you can use AI right now. At the end of the day, you're not missing the ball necessarily of any specific platform. Should you use Gemini, ChatGPT, 4, Omni? What? Really, it's the strategy, right? It's thinking of like in the 90s, were you implementing Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel? You're kind of thinking of that strategy moving forward. So it's good you're thinking about strategy. Right now, I think it's mostly ideation. If you want a clear cut answer of how I would recommend using AI today, whether that's Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever you use, I think it's ideation, right? It's creating prompts specific for your organization with specific prompt engineering that is paragraph, 2 paragraphs long of information. One sentence is not going to cut it. And asking that LLM for 10 examples, right? Give me 10 ideas. 2 of them are going to be absolute rubbish and just factually incorrect. Some others will be mediocre and sound like AI, but there'll be 2 that sound really good and are really good ideas that if you just tweak it just a little bit can turn out to be something really good. So I think ideation to your question is the biggest win right now as far as AI. Also, right, kind of looking at the landscape, right? Because I've answered this question about AI quite a bit, and it's changed, right? If you ask this question 2 months from now, it'll be very different as well. But as of today, I could absolutely see the diffusion of innovation kind of starting to tip here in this, at least in the generative AI direction, where we think that AI is going to change the world and change everything that we do and take all the jobs and whatnot. That's not necessarily going to happen. Will it hurt some job areas for you? Absolutely. Will it create some others? Absolutely. But just like how, what Amazon went through during the .com bubble, a lot of online retailers died. Right? And people laughed at Amazon and said, hey, that shopping online was a fad. Amazon fell dramatically, then came back and plateaued. I think AI is going to face that within the next 12 months. You'll see that fall. I think Sora, the video generative tool, is already raising some red flags. How fast do we want to go in this direction? So I think that decline is coming. Whenever that day comes where it says, hey, actually AI, generative AI is not the end all be all, it's not going to be used in your job, don't listen, right? Because that day will come. It is coming in the future. Do not listen to those voices. You're going to still play around with it. You're still going to test things. If you're a student of mine, send me an email. I'll send you some Excel sheets with templates that you can literally test these things out and change them specifically on your brand, your company, your personal brand, whatever that may be. So you can use it right now. But when those naysayers come, stick with it, right? Because in a couple years, it's going to come back up and plateau, and you want to be the one, right, in the job market to say, I can use this. I can start on day one and be effective with generative AI, whether that be written communication, visuals, audio, whatever the case may be. You really want to be that person. So stay lab testing. But as of today, if I'm using it today, it's ideation. That's the best use case right now. Literally ask it questions, put in your brand. What are some marketing strategies? What should be copy for this very specific Instagram post? What should we write for this email news blast? What should our strategy be for SEO in this area? I would be asking those very, very specific things. Good question.
What helps with time management if you have too much on your plate?
Great question. Great question. I think most people struggle with this at some extent, at some point in their life. I don't think everyone who says they have their shit together is probably lying, right? So just know, I think a majority of people will face this. If not now, they have in the past. They figured out some structure that worked for them. I can't tell you specifically the golden process for you specifically. I think the best way to think about time management, which is such a big personal strategy, is to talk to 4 to 6 people that you trust, who you feel have the best interest for your best interest at heart, who have professional success. Ask that same question to those 4 to 6 people, and then mold that into a Frankenstein approach that works for you. I'll give you my suggestion, right? Just my suggestion. First, the tactical piece, which I find hits with people a little bit more, and then probably the more impactful strategy. Tactically, I use apps. So I use the Microsoft To Do app. I use that. I check it. I fill my to-do list. It's like a checklist. Like if you're the person who likes to scratch things off of a to-do list, like you'll even write something down just to scratch it off. I like to-do lists. It helps me prioritize the day, put the kind of hard stuff somewhere. I try to do like one or two easy things to get them all moving, then do the hard things, and then kind of end the day with some easy stuff. But I use Microsoft To Do. It's free. This isn't a plug, but it's free. But I fill that out. It's just on my app on my phone. I do that every evening, and then I check it in the morning. I also put it in order of prioritization in the evening. So that's a tactical piece that may help. I think the big strategy one, though, right, is I think it's a different way of thinking, is for most people have three buckets. Things they need to do, there's things they want to do, and then there's things they should do. So first one, need to do, you have to pay the bills. You need to go to work. You need to get this assignment done by midnight. That's need to do stuff. Want to do is play with your kids, go for a walk, get some exercise in, right? Those are the want things. Then there's that should category. I should make an appearance at the work happy hour. I should spend time working, with the school board. I should be doing X, Y, Z. I think that should column is the one I would be looking at, right? How can you take as much away from that should column? Leave the need stuff, leave the want stuff, because you can't just be doing just work stuff all the time. You want to be happy. But that should column, I would literally write out what are in all of your columns, fill up, and then when you're done, really look at that should column and say, what am I obligated to do? What do I feel like I need to be doing all the time, but isn't necessarily impacting what I need to do, what I want to do? Not saying you can get rid of all of those things, right? Maybe there's family obligations, things like that. But I bet you that you'll be able to take off a couple hours a week in that should column. That's the strategy that I would think about. Awesome questions. If you are a student of mine, send me either an email or a Slack DM with a question, whether it be with your name or anonymous. Let me know if you want it to be anonymous. And maybe I'll answer it in next week's Office Hours video.